Miles Morales is one of the characters in the Marvel Comics universe that really has untapped potential. We saw it in the movies, we saw it in video games. There is a lot of audience awareness of the character, and if done right, Miles Morales can generate a ton of money for Marvel Comics, but they haven't got him right quite yet outside of the Ultimate Universe. We knew that Saladin Ahmed was going to be leaving the title by the end of the year, and now we know who's taking over December of 2022. I'll show you some images, and I'll show you some reasons why I think this is probably not going to go well for Miles Morales and Miles Morales fans. Miles Morales Spider-Man is being relaunched with writer Cody Ziegler and artist Federico Vicentini, taking the young hero back to basics as he fights a villain who threatens everyone and everything Miles loves. This new volume of Miles Morales will take him back to his street-level roots after adventures across the multiverse. Also, instead of teaming up with Peter Parker, Miles will find a new mentor in Misty Knight. Right off the bat, with the information that's provided there, I think separating Miles Morales from Peter Parker is probably pretty good. You don't want Miles sitting in the shadow of Peter Parker for the rest of the character's existence within the Marvel Comics universe, and they need to do something to really differentiate the character from Peter Parker. I think they should probably give him his own superhero moniker, maybe move him out of Brooklyn, out of New York entirely, find him his own city, his own identity within the Marvel Comics universe. Teaming him up with Misty Knight as a new mentor is just as good an idea as any other, I guess. So those kind of things all make sense. So the information that we do have does sound pretty good, especially the artist. Federico Vicentini is actually very, very good. I've seen a few sites call him superstar artist Federico Vicentini. I think we're jumping to conclusions way too fast. He hasn't had a lot of work, and I don't think he's actually ever sold a comic book based on his name being on the cover, but he is potentially a superstar comic book artist in the future. I think he might be one of their Stormbreakers for 2022 or whatever. So it's a good artist, but I don't know if they got the right writer on this one. I don't know that Cody Ziegler is exactly what Miles Morales needs to really get him over in the Marvel Comics universe. This is what Mr. Ziegler said. He's done super cool multiple dimensions, but let's take him down to that street level and also give him a new mentor. Peter has been there a lot for him. I wanted to bring him a new black mentor. I really wanted to pair him up with a black street level character. That's the story that I want to tell because I'm a big fan of the apprenticeship and the mentorship. Cody Ziegler is fresh off writing What If Miles Morales, as well as Spider-Punk and the Spider-Man Beyond era of Amazing Spider-Man. He's also a writer on She-Hulk Attorney at Law. The Beyond era of Amazing Spider-Man was actually pretty darn good. And the issues that Cody Ziegler was the writer on, or at least credited for, weren't bad at all. They were some of the best ones out there. But I imagine, I just have a sneaking suspicion after reading Spider-Punk that the other writers on the Beyond board, specifically Zeb Wells, since he's the Amazing Spider-Man writer now, were likely mapping this stuff out and probably outlining the story itself and where it was going to go. And like Ziegler came in and finished off the work and it ended up being pretty good. But What If Miles Morales, not exactly a high point for Marvel Comics. Now, he didn't write the What If Miles Morales Thor issue that really got them in hot water. It is likely one of the big reasons that Saladin Ahmed is no longer on the character, but that was certainly a low point for Miles Morales within the Marvel Comics universe. And writing for She-Hulk Attorney at Law, it feels like a lot of Marvel fans just aren't enamored with that version of the character. Do we really want like a male feminist perspective on Miles Morales? Is that really the best place that we can take this character to really make him the superstar that he can be at Marvel Comics? I have doubts. I have severe doubts after reading Spider-Punk. He's a writer for all 5 issues, and it's a dumpster fire. It's absolutely terrible. Cody Ziegler and all the things that he creates in Spider-Punk and the writing tropes that he uses is very Marvel Comics in 2022 in the worst possible ways imaginable. I'll give you a few examples right now on why I think this is probably a bad idea to let Cody Ziegler take the reins for a character potentially as important to the future of Marvel Comics as Miles Morales. In Spider-Punk, the very first issue, this is supposed to be a punk version of Spider-Man. This is how Hubie Brown introduces himself. Very first page. When some Nazi punks roll up to my hood and start shooting up the place, I gotta remind them, I'm Hubie Brown. That does not sound punk at all. One of the issues going on with comic books, specifically the big 2, is people taking characters, the story that they want to tell, or maybe the ideas that they want to do, and then breaking the characters around that story. And this screams that. There's nothing punk at all about Spider-Punk. You can tell Cody Ziegler didn't really like the concept of the idea, so he said, yeah, I'll do Spider-Punk, but I'll do nothing that actually makes sense with the concept of the character, and I'll just do what I want to do. And that's a problem for Marvel Comics. Another example in the very first issue of Spider-Punk. When we see this character, Captain Anarchy, he walks into a room, there's a young man with a jacket and a spiked hairdo, and they start making out, literally out of nowhere. This scene in particular has nothing to do with the story or the narrative of what's happening. It's just to let you know that Captain Anarchy is gay. And you never see that character again. That character, that love interest of Captain Anarchy, is never put in peril or anything to make Captain Anarchy have to do something he never wanted to do. This is another thing that's absolutely ruining Marvel and DC Comics. And Cody Ziegler is going right to the well, like in the first issue of Spider-Punk, like just sending alarm bells off. When you read the comic book, you're like, where did this come from? But you're seeing that a lot in Marvel and DC Comics, and that's one of the reasons a lot of people are kind of walking away. At least that's what they're saying. So I don't know if that was a good idea. In Spider-Punk, Cody Ziegler is obsessed with introducing new versions of the heroes in the Marvel Comics universe. We never really get to see much about Spider-Punk Hubie Brown himself because he's too busy introducing new versions of like Daredevil here, which of course is a blind girl with a mohawk in this universe. And the dialogue itself is so over the top and preachy, it's so stupid. Another thing killing Marvel Comics, listen to this character. Once Osborn's forces cut tail, he moved into a bunker over by Jefferson and Rosenstock, turned it into his own personal place of pain, and hired a crazy mutant biker clique to enforce him. Spider-Punk feels bad because he's the one that took out Norman Osborn. He says, can't help but think this is all my fault. I thought I'd stop Osborn, but then another rat just moved in the moment they got the opportunity. This is old Daredevil. This is a fun character, right? The root's in the root motto. If you really want to change shit, you got to throw out the whole tree. So you have a double whammy there. We got to introduce new female versions of established male characters, and we have to have lame, over-the-top dialogue that just makes the characters look stupid. Every single new version of a male hero in Spider-Punk is changed, like Hubie Brown in Spider-Man, Captain Anarchy, obviously Captain America. We get a new version of Hulk. I think his name is Robbie. We obviously get that gender-bent, gender-changed version of Daredevil. But the female heroes in this book, they're not changed. Riri Williams is Riri Williams. Kamala Khan is Kamala Khan. This is like, I just don't think like the male feminist perspective is the right future and vision for Miles Morales. I can see this thing absolutely crashing and burning really fast. There's also really bad jokes. This guy's supposed to be funny. He's a writer on Rick and Morty. I think that's where he got his start. He mentions that he writes on Futurama and stuff. There's nothing fun about Spider-Punk. And that's what you would think a guy from Rick and Morty would bring to the table. Like in the last issue, there's this really weird joke. Flash Thompson says, gonna blast you into so many pieces, they'll have to ship you back to a casino in a paper bag. Which Captain Anarchy says, wow, a racist. Original. I'm like, where the hell did this come from? I don't even know what he's trying to say. And then I remembered eventually in issue number 1, which came out like 5 months ago, there's a mention that Captain Anarchy is the sentinel of the Cowlitz Nation and his last name is Morning Dew. So apparently he's Native American. But that's never, ever mentioned again in the comic book. And when you look at the character, you don't go, oh, that is a Native American version of Captain America. Like, it doesn't scream that at all. If you forgot that page, which I did, you don't understand the joke at all. You don't even get what he's trying to get at here. And not to mention, we just had a Native American version of Captain America introduced in the United States of Captain America. They keep doing like the same ideas over and over. How many different variant versions of characters can we have in the Marvel Comics universe? You put this guy on Spider-Punk and you think he's going to flesh this character out, and he just creates new characters, and they're all boring and just kind of lame and stupid. Cody Ziegler is like the epitome of everything wrong with Marvel Comics, like tied up into a comic book series in Spider-Punk. The thing is absolutely trash. We'll see, because his work on Amazing Spider-Man with the Beyond board was actually pretty good. If he gets some oversight and someone helping him out with the stories and maybe rein in some of the bad writing tendencies, that maybe it'll turn out good. But Spider-Punk was absolutely atrocious. I'm surprised they gave him this Miles Morales series, since Miles Morales has so much potential. But Doc and I actually reviewed Spider-Punk #1 along with the first appearance of the CW's version of Batwoman in DC Comics. They were both really awful. If you guys want us to bring back Worst of the Week, let me know in the comments section. And if you want to see just how bad Spider-Punk #1 was in detail, check out this video. It's the second review on this. Have fun with that one. And if you're on a mobile device, there's a link in the video description.